I am Kristen Durrell and I'm your host for today's Littlescribe Author Masterclass. I'm delighted to introduce our amazing author for this session, the wonderful, the amazing Jackie French. She is an author, historian, ecologist and apparently an honorary wombat, which I'm very jealous of. She was also the Australian Children's Laureate for 2014 and 2015 and the 2015 Senior Australian of the Year. Some of her books have sold millions of copies and I would be gobsmacked if you hadn't heard of them, and she's won over 60 awards. Now you would know many of her books for all ages. They include picture books like the absolute lifetime favourite of mine, The Diary of a Wombat, Josephine Wants of Dance, to historical fiction novels and The Girls Who Changed the World series, including Ming and Mary Spy for Freedom. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you. Hi.
And Jackie, where are you joining us from today?
I am on the lands of the Yuin Nation of the Durga and Agaluan people. And stories have been told here for at least 24,000 years, exactly where I'm sitting now, above the creek.
That's amazing. Well, we feel very, very lucky to have you joining us today. We are also very lucky and excited to have our resident illustrator in the house, as he will be for every workshop across these Littlescribe Author Masterclasses, the amazing, that I'm sure many of you know, James Foley.
Hello everyone, and hello Jackie, great to see you. I'm sorry you couldn't be here in the studio, but I'm glad that we could connect.
Well,
I can't wait.
In today's workshop, we're going to be looking at building rich historical characters and writing historical fiction scenes. So I hope you've got your writing hands and brains working already. So we're going to dive straight in, but before we do, now Jackie warned me about something before we started this session. She warned me that she gets so excited about her storytelling and so excited about sharing with everybody that sometimes she talks and talks and talks and talks and keeps going because she's so excited and she doesn't ever want to stop. But we may need her to stop, so you have lots of time to write. So she has told me that if I need her to stop talking, I have to say one word. What is that, Jackie? What do I have to say?
Wombats.
Wombats, that's right. So if you hear me say wombats, I am not being rude and interrupting Jackie. That is our code word to say, let's get on with some writing. But I'm sure we won't need it because we've got lots of great time. But Jackie, let's dive straight in, I think. So we are talking about building rich historical characters and you're basing it on one of your very, very special books today. So tell us a little bit about the book, and I understand that this particular story and what you're going to inspire everyone is also set in Belgium. So can you maybe tell us about the story and why you set it there?
Okay, we are in Belgium in 1916, Christmas 1916, and Germany has invaded. They invaded Belgium first, and it was horrendous, because they needed to do so much damage that England would join the war, because the Kaiser really wanted to fight England and England didn't want to fight. So more than half of the houses in Belgium have been destroyed and the rubble. Most of the schools in Belgium have been bombed to rubble. It's a land where there are just women and kids and a few very old men, because all of the men who could work are either in the army, prisoners of war, or they've been taken as slave labor to Germany. And that means that the women have to work to support their kids. But even worse, there's a blockade. The ships, German ships, are stopping any food getting to Belgium, and most of the food that Belgium grows is being taken to Germany. So they're really living off food that has been dropped by aeroplane from America. People donate the food and then they drop it and they share it. And they do share it. It should be a place that is utterly incredibly miserable, but it's not, because they have got a system called the Little Sister program. If someone has got a big house, they will ask as many people as possible to share the house. The schools were bombed, but all of the volunteers would get together. They would make a great big, enormous schoolroom, which was also a canteen where kids got food every day. You'd go to school even on Saturday and Sunday just to have lunch from the food. The food was mostly kept in secret cupboards because the German soldiers were often starving too, and they would steal the food. And everyone tried to make that big room as wonderful as possible. For little kids, they'd have jumping rabbits painted around the room or some other way of making it look wonderful.
Oh.
So this is where we are, and it is nearly Christmas.
Wow.
And you have to work.
No, keep going,
Yes,
Jackie.
It is nearly Christmas. And at Christmas, there is always extra food. There might even be chocolate. We don't know. It just depends how much food has been donated, how much has been collected, how much has been kept safe and hidden for today, because today is going to be near Christmas and a celebration.
And
So
that's,
first of all,
yeah, and that's the activity you want everyone to do, Jackie, isn't it? So what we're going to get you to do in just a moment, based on what Jackie was just explaining, this amazing moment in history and the location, the first activity, we're just going to limit it to writing some sentences about the setting that Jackie has just been describing. So it is Christmas. You're in this amazing room that Jackie was sharing. You want to think about where are you? Describe the scene. What can you see? What can you hear? What can you feel? What can you smell? And Jackie, you've just been sharing some of those things. Are you talking to someone, or what are you doing in that space? So we're going to get you writing while Jackie keeps painting a picture in the background of this amazing space that will give you a little bit more inspiration as you're writing. But we're going to give you a few minutes because we want you to come up with some really beautiful sentences to describe this room that you are in. So imagine yourself in that space. Okay, little scribers, you can start writing while Jackie keeps sharing just a little bit more about this space to inspire some amazing sentences.
One quick question on that, Chris.
Yes,
do we
James?
imagine that it's us going back to that time, or do we imagine that we are one of the kids in that space?
Jackie, what would you like them to do? Would you like them to picture themselves in the room or imagine a character?
no, well, you're going to be in the room.
There you go.
But who are you?
Yep.
Are you going to be one of the women volunteer cooks?
Yep.
Are you going to be a member of the resistance who's
Yep.
actually smuggled the food in and has hidden it? Are you going to be a German soldier because a party of German soldiers is going to come in?
Yeah.
Are you going to be one of the kids?
Yeah.
Or you might like to be a goat. The goats were kept to give milk, and they were kept in the cellars because just about everyone had a cellar.
Yeah.
And they had passages between the cellars. And when the Germans came to confiscate the goats would be taken through these secret passages to another place. So you might also be a goat under the floor, or you might be a rat up in the rafters. But be very careful if you're a rat, because a lot of the boys would kill the rats with slingshots.
Oh my gosh.
And then so it's probably not a good idea.
No, maybe not. But for this first activity, we are just going to focus on writing the setting. So I'm sure some of you are already writing, and we'll move on a little bit more to the characters in a moment. But it's good to have in the back of your head who you think you might want to be as you're looking around you, because I guess depending on your perspective, the scene is going to look a little different. So you can build out the idea of the character a bit more in a moment. But for right now, what we'd love to see is some sentences showing all about the scene that you're seeing. And Jackie, just remind them, what sort of room is it? What sort of space is it? And teachers, if you want to share some of those sentences in the chat, that would be fantastic. And we'll also get you to hold some up to the camera in a moment too. But Jackie, we're going to give them another minute or two to keep writing those sentences. Can you paint a little bit more of a picture for us while they're doing so of what this scene looks like at Christmas time?
It's a very large room, and remember, it's been bombed. So it's been repaired with all sorts of material. We've no idea what the walls are made of or the roof is made of. The desks were all bombed too. So they've been put together out of all sorts of things. There might be a dining table. There might be a luxurious armchair next to a stool. So it will be made of what people could take out of the wreckage, but it will also have been painted. And it might be a scene of a forest, or it might be mermaids or unicorns, whatever people thought would make the kids happy. And at the front, there is a great big long table with bowls and with spoons. And from the room next door, you can smell the food.
Wow.
And the food changed every day, usually pretty boring. Mostly oats and vegetable stews, but you can smell. So, this is a special day. Have they managed to get special food? Can you smell chocolate? What can you smell? Maybe you could even smell apples or oranges that kids hadn't seen from the beginning of the war.
Wow.
What can you smell that you might be going to get? And remember, too, all of the kids, their clothes would have been bombed. So they're dressed mostly in adults' clothes. Clothes have been put together, pair of trousers that have been made from 3 pairs of trousers, all put together, and the same with coats and scarves, because it is very cold. But you could also smell the fire because it's midwinter. It's incredibly cold. And every weekend, the kids go out into the forest to find the firewood, but also onto the bomb sites to get chairs and beds and wood that's been destroyed, or wood from the houses.
All right.
So you've got the smell.
Yep. Should we have a look, Jackie? I think
yes, please.
Yeah, you've painted some amazing pictures there. And like I said, you are so great at sharing. I can see the room in my head. But let's see what some of our little scribers have come up with. James, do we have any in the chat? And we're going to have a bit of a zoom around and see what we can see from the classrooms as well, if people want to hold up their writing at this point.
None up in the chat
Oh,
yet.
teachers, don't
but
forget.
I'm keeping my eyes on them.
Type some in the chat and we're going to have a bit of a look. And Jackie, I'll read some of these out to you when we can see them on the screen.
I started writing a little bit myself just while I was listening to Jackie.
What have you got there, James?
Outside the air is cold, snow sits on the rubble like a shroud, but inside the room is warm. Grey rabbits dance on the walls. An old dining table sits at the front of the room, set with, chipped bowls and spoons. Delicious food smells waft from the next room. Stew, is there something extra in there today?
Wow, I can actually sense that. Now, we did just get that zoom up again. I was wondering if we could have another look at that to our amazing tech team. So I know we're jumping around. Let's have a look at what some of this writing we can see.
St. Joseph's Dungog Year 3, they've got one that's nice and close to the screen.
There we go. Hold it nice and still for us.
I see amazing Christmas decorations. I smell Christmas pudding and turkey. I hear the oven cooking. I feel warm blankets.
Oh,
it's so cozy.
What do you think of that, Jackie?
Oh, look, I think those are wonderful. The turkey would have come in can. They canned turkey. So they could actually drop it by parachute into Belgium.
Here's another one. I can see beautiful flowers painted on the wall. I can already taste gooey chocolate brownie. Lots of cupboards filled with food. Wow, and they're imagining an amazing Christmas with the food. What's up?
I feel warm. I hear a microwave beeping.
Not sure if they would have had microwaves back then. It was 1916, remember, so we want to try to keep focused on our historical setting. Here's another amazing one. I walk in and out of the dark to be absorbed into the bright light. When my eyes adjust, I am in a wondrous springtime room crafted together using bits and bobs from what was once destroyed.
That's amazing.
That's where they've created, Jackie, an amazing place to escape from that difficult time. And here is one more. Hold that one nice, and then we'll keep moving. Oh, no.
All the way around.
Turn it upside down.
Around. That's it. It is Christmas Eve in a big room where the sweet smell of figgy pudding lightens the air. It's really cozy. But upstairs, there is a hole in the roof.
Oh, wow. So, Jackie, I love that one because it's got that junction between something beautiful and something so broken and destroyed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep coughing. Okay, so we're moving on to activity 2 now, Jackie. So in just a couple of minutes, and you touched on this already before, where we've now got to think, so you have your scene, now we want to think about a bit more about who you are in that scene. So you've put yourself in this room, and Jackie just recap for us, Jackie, what you were describing there about the possible people that might have been in that room. So we can, and then in a moment, you're going to write a bit about who you are. So what are you wearing? What do you notice and feel? How do you feel in that space? But Jackie, just very quickly, as our little scribers get writing about who they are, just remind them of some of the options that they might be. I do remember there was the possibility of a goat.
Yeah. Yes, you could be a kid. And because so many women had to work in factories, they had to leave their kids there. So you could be a cute little baby. You could be a 3-year-old. You could be a 10-year-old. You could be a 15-year-old. Are you a student? Are you a teacher? Are you one of the volunteer cooks? Are you one of the party of Germans who've just come through the door? Are you a rat up in the rafters? Or maybe you are the goat underneath the floor, wondering what is happening, and goats like eating almost anything. So a goat would be very, very interested in what is being fed up above, because it might possibly get scraps. Or for that matter, you could be a stray cat who's actually snuck in there too underneath one of the desks and is hoping again to get a little bit of bread or a little bit of food.
There are so many options.
Are you?
Yeah.
What do you look like and what are you wearing?
Yeah.
Unless you're the rat or
unless you're the rat. Well, you could be wearing something if you were the rat. You may have found something. But so little scribers, you are writing in first person here. That means I am wearing something, I am feeling, I am, or you can use lots of other words, but remembering we're seeing this from your perspective, little scriber. So again, you've got a few minutes here. So I want you to really think about these wonderful sentences, and remember as well, Jackie, that this is a historical context. So we're thinking 1916. So there's some amazing writing, but try to imagine what it'd been like in a place that long ago that Jackie had painted that scene. Think about the scene that you created in your writing in that first activity. So you've got a couple more minutes, and teachers, if you have a chance to share any of those sentences in the chat, we would love to see them there as well, and we will have another look around as well, but it can be a bit harder to see some of the writing up there. So feel free to share a few of those sentences. But Jackie, what sort of clothes would, say, a child potentially have been wearing? Like, we might just give them some ideas while little scribe as you are writing your sentences.
They could be wearing anything. They could even be wearing Belgian Army uniform, which has been home dyed. But they will be wearing a what? Because it is very, very cold. One thing they will be wearing are patterns. They're shoes that you put on your shoes. So they were just a block of wood with 2 blocks of wood like that. So very hard to walk in. But it kept you out of the mud and the snow. Shoes were precious, so it saved your shoes and it saved your feet from frostbite. So even though you're inside, you're probably wearing just about every bit of clothing you have got. You are wearing stockings, you are wearing long socks, maybe 4 pairs of long socks. You are wearing long underwear, you are wearing a shirt, you might be wearing trousers. The girls will be wearing long skirts because we are in 1916. Everyone will have scarves around their necks. They'll probably be wearing gloves, even though it makes them clumsy. They'll be wearing scarves or shawls over their head, or possibly wooden caps, or even 2 woolen beanies pulled down.
Wow.
They'll be wearing as much as they can, but also there's wooden clogs to keep them out of the cold.
Wow, keep your feet up off the cold ground. James has got some fabulous character ideas that he's been putting up on the screen there, but we would like to see now some of what our little scribers have created, Jackie, and James and I will share some of those with you again. James, do we have anything through in the chat yet? Or are the teachers being a bit shy today?
We've just got some of the descriptions from before, some of the wonderful descriptions people had. The smell of rich chocolate filled the air, with all the kids jumping happily as I, a goat, sat in the cold, dark cellar. That was by Charlie from Birmingham.
Oh,
Isn't that great? Oh, Jackie likes that one, definitely. That was
I love that one.
Yeah.
Outside, the snow gathers in piles. I smell soup cooking in the other room and hear goats scattering things everywhere. Is that because the goats are cooking the soup? Or is it just the... Every now and then I hear thuds and bangs in the distance from the bombs. That was by Macy and Beatrix from SGPS 34B.
How fantastic. And I don't know, I mean, do we have time for a very quick zoom around as well? If we can get that, our wonderful schools up again, if we can. And then we'll be moving on to what I think is going to be another very fabulous bit, which I think people have already been touching on. If we can get everyone, oh, there we are. Let's have a look. Wyong Public School has some good writing there. I'm in the factory working restlessly. I look over my shoulder to see my newborn baby cold, tired and starving as I am wearing a shirt made of thin, cold fabric and all the socks I could find. What do you think of that one, Jackie?
Wonderful. These are just beautiful.
Yeah, here's another. I am a young kid that is wearing a long coat with holes in it. I have a t-shirt that is yellow with stripes of red. My eyes are light green and my hair was tied up in a messy bun. I like the coat with holes because I guess they would have to wear no matter what, wouldn't they?
Oh, yes. Always a coat.
And I'll read you one more, Jackie, and then we're going to move on to the next writing. My job is a goat feeder. The only thing left from my family. My family escaped in a ship while they can, but no
animals allowed in the ship. No problem. They picked me. They left me with the goats. With nothing left, just goats. For clothes, they left a t-shirt and shorts.
Oh my gosh, so that person's going to be very, very, very cold. Now, Jackie, we've got, and what you've already written, everyone, you have a scene, you have this amazing space that I bet you can all picture in your minds now, this amazing setting. It's Christmas time. We know who we are in that space, and there were some amazing characters being developed there, including a goat, which I was very impressed with. Now, the next thing we're going to want to describe is the food. Now, you mentioned at the very beginning how important that food was and those food drops. So it was scarce, it was precious. You mentioned chocolate was rare, Jackie. Some food was even bribe-worthy. So Littlescribers, as Jackie starts sharing, I would like to get you to keep writing now. Think about the sort of food that has just been delivered by or is going to be delivered, or what you are hoping to see delivered. Jackie, what sort of other things might they expect? And Littlescribers, you can get writing while Jackie's talking as well.
Okay. The great big terrines of food have come out and the baskets of food, and you're all lining up to get your share. Now, you may think you've smelt chocolate, but were you just being hopeful? There were treats like chocolate, and as I said, apples, oranges, plums were a wonderful, wonderful treat. There might be dried fruit. If there's dried fruit, they might have made a Christmas pudding. They might have made pies. What are you going to see? Or maybe the drop didn't happen. Maybe all it is turnip stew with oats, a sort of oat gruel with some carrots and turnips chopped into it. What are you going to see? Is this going to be the most wonderful treat for Christmas? And when you get the food, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to hurriedly eat it? Or maybe if there's a treat, you'll put just a piece of it, like chocolate or a tart or a part of a pudding, into your pocket to give to someone at home. What food is there? Wonderful or disappointing? And what will you do with the food?
So Littlescribers, that's what you're doing right now. You're writing some sentences for us describing the food that you are imagining is there. It could be, as Jackie said, some turnips, a big soup, some sort of stew. Maybe it's a mystery stew where you don't really know what's in there. But boy, would a hot meal smell good, I think, if you're as cold as Jackie's been describing. How important is that food to you? Are you starving, or, maybe the food is of high value to you? Maybe it's just something to help you survive. And how is your character reacting to that food? So there's a few ideas there for sentences. So you've got another minute or two. Again, we would love, teachers, you to share any of these sentences into the chat for us, because I know Jackie would love to hear some of the writing. And if we have time, we will have another look around before we move on to the next activity. But Jackie, food, I think food would have been all-consuming when you're that hungry, wouldn't it?
Look, it would. And that's what the kids would do after school. The boys would go hunting rats. They had slingshots and any bird. They'd fire their slingshot at to eat the birds. Every weekend, families would go out into the woods. Well, not families, we're just talking the women and the kids. And also the families they'd made just for the war. The little sisters, the big sisters that they'd adopted. They'd go to the woods, they'd pick acorns to make flour to add to the bread or to make coffee. They'd be looking for wild greens to eat. They'd be seeing if there are any wild apples or crab apples left. They'd be looking to see if nuts had fallen to the ground. They might even see the squirrel has left a great big store of nuts there and they can find it. So food and firewood were the most important things in the world. Wow. And making each other happy, being able to find something or hunt something that you could put into dinner. And by the way, it's just possible today. There might be a great big thick slice of canned turkey or canned corned beef, and you haven't had meat for weeks and weeks and weeks. You haven't had cheese for weeks and weeks and weeks. So what is there on the table today?
Wow. I can't wait to see what everyone's coming up with. James, do you want to read us out what you're coming up with? And then we might go to see what our wonderful little scribers have been writing. I know I could see you scribbling furiously. They're all inspired.
I was just thinking from the point of view of maybe one of the adults who's back in the kitchen. The children have been looking forward to this meal for months. We adults have scrounged all the chocolate we can, bribing the German soldiers to get it.
That's a really nice perspective too.
Our stomachs rumble just looking at it. But we know we have to give it away.
Yeah, so that's the adults sacrificing perhaps their own hunger so that the children have food. I wonder what our little scribers have come up with. James, I know you're writing furiously, but if you can have a look at the chat while we get up our Zoom again. I'm keeping our tech team working very hard today to have a look at all of your amazing writing. Have we got anything on the chat there?
So many.
Fantastic.
There was a great one just from the last part. Portia from Middle Harbour said, I see bombs surrounding us, fire crawling up like spider webs, walls made of ash, broken chairs and tables painted in multiple colours. I smelled canned turkey that has been pulled out of the oven. I wonder what my family is doing. I wear a torn dress with holes in it, a ripped scarf around my neck. I feel the heavy bucket shoes on my feet, ready for running through the ice-cold snow. Oh. Portia, amazing. But on the food, we've got some people saying, I taste the wonderful food, I smell the dried fruit, I stashed some food in my pocket for my little brother who had to stay at home because there were too many people.
Oh, wow.
I wished I smelled the fresh, nice, sweet taste of chocolate melt in my cold, dry mouth.
Oh, goodness. Well, there's some really good starts for our next activity there too. I wonder if we have time for a quick Zoom though as well. I'd love to see what some of our classrooms can hold up. There we go. Oh my gosh, there's so many words on the pages. That is amazing.
Wow.
Who can we have a look at first? Let's bring up one. There we go. As I peek through the hall, I smell
roast
beef in the
teacher's room. Oh. But all I can smell now is smelly broccoli.
Oh my gosh. Do you know what? I reckon they would be so hungry that they'd eat it anyway. Maybe you could add that to the end of the sentence.
I think I smell pizza being delivered at my door for lunch on Christmas Day to eat after opening presents.
Oh, I wonder what sort of presents they might have gotten in 1916. I'm sure that parents would have tried to find something special for them. I think we've got an upside down board. Maybe we can
turn it around, rotate it.
There we go.
Okay. Everyone lining up for rations. A sack is being handed out. Benny reaches into the bag. He grabs the chocolate and hides it, as delicacies like these are so rare. Delicacies is such a great word.
Yeah, that one's a really good one too, Jackie, isn't it? It's capturing that concept of needing to hide and hold on to things. The smell of treats linger through the air. The sound of snow interferes. I'm just dreaming. I bend down. The smell of turnip stew engulfed my nose. I don't know, there's something about turnip stew that I'm sure I would eat it if I was starving, but that was Wyong Public. Thank you, that was fantastic. Let's have a look at one more. James?
Anzac biscuits were the only food in the whole war. Only 76 people got the Anzac biscuits. Some of the people starved to death.
Wow.
It's very odd to be reading this story while people are waving their hands and cheering in the background.
I'm eating dead deer. We have nothing else besides grass. All the food has been bombed. Oh, that paints quite a picture.
There's some good ones in the chat too.
Well, we'll come back to those in a minute,
Awesome.
James, but I do want to get on to our next piece of writing because we're going to run out of time. There's so much great writing here, Jackie. We can't even get to them all. We could spend the whole hour just looking at all the writing. So our next activity, Jackie, so the soldiers arrive. So the German soldiers have come in. And they could be very different, couldn't they? So can you give us some examples of the types of soldiers? So you've created your character, you know who you are, you know the room that you're in, Littlescribers, and now the German soldiers walk in. But you've got some choices to make. Jackie, what do they need to decide?
Do they walk in? Do they knock on the door
Ooh.
and wait till it be opened? Do they just open the door and walk in? Or do they suddenly burst in and they've got their rifles pointed at everyone because they're going to steal the food? Or maybe they're just standing outside singing Christmas carols. Maybe while they're singing the Christmas carols, they're not carrying firearms. They've carved all sorts of gifts for the kids, because that was one of the things that people would often do back then. They would carve toys or ornaments or bowls or cups or teething rings. So are these German soldiers who have been trained, and they had to be trained, to torture people and who will steal the food? Or are they incredibly nice men who are just missing their families terribly? So sorry for these kids, thinking about their own kids back home. Have they been spending weeks or months making presents for the kids, and they're going to be singing carols, or they will just come in quietly so they don't frighten the kids, and they will just stand there with their arms full of gifts that they have been making for the kids? So is this going to be terrifying or absolutely wonderful for Christmas?
So Littlescribers, that's what you're writing now. So you already have your setting, you know who you are, you've experienced the food, you've got an understanding of the food around you, and now we have what we're calling our moment of tension in the story. So we're building this up. The German soldiers arrive, and in that moment, at that point, they don't know what, as Jackie said, whether they're going to be nice or whether they're going to be not so nice. So you make that decision, and then I want you to write a few sentences about what it's like, maybe one or two sentences about what it's like when those soldiers enter. What picture are you going to paint? So you've just got a couple of minutes now to write those sentences. Jackie, how common, as our Littlescribers are writing, how common would it have been to have, say, these nice German soldiers? Was that a pretty common thing we would have seen back then?
Yes, it was very, very common indeed. There were so many ones of the Germans sharing their rations. And remember too, Germany was hungry as well. In wartime, there were never enough people to grow the food. But no, there would be German soldiers, particularly who would help the kids. They would give some of their rations to hungry kids. If there were uniforms, they might actually just take 2 pairs of socks instead of 1 pair of socks from the commissariat and dye them so they weren't in army colours, or give them to a family. Remember, when I say family, the fathers aren't there, the grandfathers aren't there. They have all been taken. Your family is just women and kids, and often there will be women and kids you've only met in the last couple of years, as you all take shelter in a place that's only been bombed a little, and you can still live in. And also too, around about there are cellars, because the houses were bombed, but the cellars were usually okay. So possibly you and 3 other families just live in one of these cellars, and you've poked a door through the rubble. But yes, the soldiers may be incredibly cruel, and they're just to steal all the food.
So
Or they might
Yeah, so
Really
how will our character feel then, I guess, when they're not sure? You can think of as you're writing, how are you feeling when you hear that knock on the door or you hear the sounds of the soldiers arriving, their footsteps outside? What does your character do with that food that they found earlier? These are some of the things that you could be including in your sentences, you wonderful little scribers. You've got another minute or two to keep writing those sentences, and teachers, please do keep sharing them in the chat. We are looking and we will have a moment to share more of those in just a second. And you can see what James is creating there, an incredible image, Jackie, of a German soldier with lots of questions around it. How will the characters feel? Will the soldiers be kind? And I imagine they're exactly the thoughts that a lot of the young people would have, that unknown all the time. I can't imagine how it would feel to just not know what was going to happen in the next moment. James, what do you think?
I would be terrified, really, as soon as you see the outline of the soldier at the door. Perhaps there's a little while before you can make out the details, and then you notice that it's a soldier that you've known before, and maybe it's the cruelest one in the town. Maybe it's a really kind one. But maybe there's just that extra moment of tension when the silhouette of the soldier's helmet is there in the doorway until you can notice who it is.
Should we have a look at some of the writing, Jackie? What do you think? I think it's time. James, do you have some in the chat that you can share for us?
This is from 34B, the Bubbly Belugas at SGPS. A resounding boom was heard at the front door. The tension in the room was unbearable. What did the soldiers want this time? As the door was opened, a few of them reached into their jacket pockets and pulled out some rough yet thoughtful wood-carved toys. What an incredible surprise at such a bleak time.
Oh, I have goosebumps. Jackie, what do you think of that?
Absolutely wonderful, building up the tension. And then suddenly, instead of bad things, you realise it's a kind people who really, really love kids and want to make things better for them.
That's the sort of story I like. I'm a bit of a happy ending girl. James, do you have any others you can share with us?
This one's from Ada in Middle Harbour Public School Year 3. The first line in this one is a little deceptive, which I like. Soldiers burst into my house singing carols and brightening up the place. Then a soldier leans down and gives me a little gift. I whisper, thank you, and he walks away.
Oh, I like that one as well. I wonder if we got any where the soldiers are not so nice, or is everyone being really nice?
No, there's some nasty soldiers too.
Oh, okay.
We have a war to fight. The cooks better be quick or there'll be trouble. As we burst through the door, everyone flees. I smash open the door to the kitchen, forcing them to hurry up and cook. So that's great. That's from a soldier's perspective, and a nasty soldier too.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I think that probably sadly would have been more common than we probably would like it to have been. Now, Jackie, there's some amazing writing there. We don't have a huge amount of time left, but in the next couple of minutes, we've probably got a minute or two for our little scribers to look back at their writing. And while they do, would you just give a couple of little editing tips, perhaps? Like, once you've written a few sentences, what would you do next? How can our little scribers just elevate that writing a little bit more as they edit? And little scribers, as Jackie's talking, just go back and start looking at your words and seeing if you can change anything or elevate it just a little bit, just for a minute or so. Jackie, what tips have you got?
We're pretty much a video generation now. We know what things look like and we know what things sound like. But what do they smell like? What does it feel like on your skin? Can you feel the cold draft? Can you feel the humid stew and the smoke coming over your face? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What can you hear inside? What can you hear outside? Does it remind you of anything? It's cold. But how can you say it's cold without just saying, it was very cold? What's some other words you can use? Not saying cold, not saying chilly. Another way of saying, it was like my Aunt Hilda's icebox in here. I thought my fingers were going to freeze to the slate because the kids used slates. Paper was too rare. So they just had slate pencils, which were a kind of rock, on slices of slate.
So it's really adding in those extra special little details, isn't it, Jackie? And little scribers, this is just a start, what you've created today. I can imagine your minds are full of amazing images and characters. And you can spend some time working on this writing going forward, remembering all of those amazing tips from Jackie about using your senses and extra detail. James, you have been busily writing. We've got a minute or two to just have a look back at some of the amazing tips and tricks that Jackie has shared with us. Do you mind taking us on a little journey back through this entire session? I can't believe how fast it's gone.
It's always lovely and quick with Jackie because she tells so many wonderful stories. I love it. I learn so much. Jackie, French, amazing past Australian Children's Laureate and honorary Wombat. Her keyword was Wombat. We didn't have to use it once. Now, Belgium, Christmas, 1916, World War I. Jackie told us lots of wonderful facts and set the scene. It felt so real. And then we had a go at doing some writing of the setting. Then we had a go at looking at some characters who might be around in that sort of a place, even animals, even a rat or a goat. And then I drew a little goat with a Christmas hat saying, I don't want to be eaten. I know it's Christmas, but can't they just make do with a canned turkey? Bah humbug. And then we talked about food being scarce and what was going to happen, what might come, what might not come, and then what would you do with it? Would you eat it at once, hide it, share it? And then we talked about how to write that from a scene, from the point of view of a character. We looked at what happens if a soldier arrives. Are they good? Are they bad? Human nature. Oh my goodness, what will happen here? And then finally, Jackie's amazing editing tips. We are a video generation. We are very focused on looks and sounds, but stories can bring other things out like smell, feel, taste. And instead of just saying it's cold, how else can you say stuff? How can you show it without telling it? Your teeth are chattering. It was like my aunt's icebox, etc.
What an...
Can I give one more tip?
Oh, yes. One
Just
more tip. You've got 5 seconds, Jackie,
Never,
go.
ever waste a word. Don't say the soldiers opened the door. Did they slide in? Did they burst in? Did they kick the door open? Did they shove the door over? Did they stomp in? Did they tiptoe in? Did they creep in? Never, ever, ever waste a word if you can make a word that tells the reader more, because the more wasted words you've got, the clumsier and more boring your story will be. So use as few words as you can, but make sure they are the best words, the most vivid words, not just they opened the door.
Yeah, what a wonderful tip, and that's a good advice for all of us. Well, that was just such an amazing workshop. Teachers, don't forget there are lots of resources for you to use on the Littlescribe platform, and we'd love to see the kids elevate their work and use those resources to potentially publish a book on the platform, even just using the writing that was created today with a page from every student. So much to work from there. Next up on our Littlescribe program is going to be actually the amazing James Foley moving in to the Littlescribe hot seat. But thank you so much, Littlescribers, for joining us. Happy scribing, everyone. It was wonderful to see you. We're going to do one last little zoom around the country, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.
And see you, Jackie.
Bye.
Thanks so much,
Bye.
Jackie. Amy, goodbye to you as well.
Bye.
Look at all these kids.
Look at all those happy faces, Jackie. You might not be able to see them clearly, but they are very excited about today.
They did such wonderful, wonderful descriptions.
Oh,
It was beautiful.
Absolutely did. So I can't wait to hear what they create
exciting.
next.
Yes.
See ya.